Is there any phrase in the modern baseball lexicon more utterly terrifying, more capable of instantly draining the absolute life and hope from an entire championship star fanbase than hearing that your star starting pitcher is heading to Texas to see a specialist? Welcome back, baseball fans, to a breaking news update that has completely shifted the atmosphere around this organization from supreme confidence to absolute, unadulterated panic. As the grueling weeks of spring training finally wind down, and we sit just a mere 14 days away from the highly anticipated March 27th opening day, the Toronto Blue Jays have been hit with a medical bombshell that threatens to derail their season before it even officially begins. Manager John Schneider has officially confirmed the nightmare scenario. Veteran right-hander José Berríos has been shut down from all throwing activities and is currently en route to the Dallas area for a comprehensive, in-person evaluation with the renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Keith Meister. Dr. Meister has already reviewed the MRI scans remotely, but the front office and the medical staff are demanding a closer, physical examination before making any definitive decisions about the future of Berrios' right arm. The absolute irony of how this injury was discovered is enough to make any baseball purist shake their head in disbelief. This wasn't the result of Berrios wincing after throwing a devastating breaking ball in a Grapefruit League game. This entire ordeal began as a simple, routine, bureaucratic hurdle. Berrios was merely attempting to secure the necessary medical insurance clearance so he could proudly represent his native Puerto Rico in the high-stakes quarterfinals of the World Baseball Classic. It was during this mandatory, seemingly harmless MRI that the imaging detected a brand new, ominous inflammation in his right elbow. According to Schneider, this specific inflammation is entirely different from the issue that forced Berrios onto the injured list for the very first time in his illustrious career last September. The most incredibly frustrating and confusing part of this entire saga? Berrios himself feels absolutely fine. He stood in front of the media, looking completely relaxed, and stated that he feels great, classifying the internal inflammation as weird because his body is not registering any physical pain whatsoever. But as any seasoned baseball observer knows, a pitcher's own assessment of their arm is often the most unreliable metric in the sport. The disconnect between how a pitcher feels and what the magnetic resonance imaging actually shows is the exact space where championship dreams go to die. To truly understand the catastrophic weight of this medical development, we have to take a deep analytical dive into the historical context of José Berríos and his profound importance to this franchise. For the vast majority of his impressive career, Berríos was the ultimate Iron Man. He was the absolute definition of a workhorse, a pitcher you could blindly pencil in for 32 starts and 200 innings every single season without a second thought. That legendary durability is precisely why the Toronto Blue Jays front office felt completely comfortable handing him a massive, life-altering 7-year contract worth $131 million. He was supposed to be the unbreakable anchor of the rotation. But the brutal, unforgiving reality of pitching in the major leagues is that the human arm was simply not designed to throw a baseball over 90 miles per hour thousands of times a year. The armor finally began to crack last season. At 31 years old, Berrios endured the most difficult and frustrating campaign of his professional life. He posted a pedestrian 9-5 record with an uncharacteristically high 4.17 earned run average, ultimately losing his guaranteed spot in the starting rotation down the stretch and suffering the indignity of his first-ever stint on the injured list. Now, we are looking at a terrifying medical profile, 2 separate, distinct bouts of elbow inflammation in a span of just 6 months for a pitcher with an enormous amount of mileage on his arm. You simply cannot ignore that kind of glaring red flag. The psychological toll this takes on a player must be absolutely immense. Imagine being an elite, world-class athlete, feeling completely healthy, feeling the snap of your curveball and the life on your fastball, only to have a doctor point at a computer screen and tell you that your elbow is a ticking time bomb. Historically, we have seen this exact scenario play out countless times across the league. Pitchers report feeling a little tightness or claim they are just dealing with dead arm, only to find themselves undergoing reconstructive surgery weeks later. The Blue Jays are operating with an abundance of caution because they know the historical precedents. They know that ignoring asymptomatic inflammation often leads to catastrophic structural failure of the ulnar collateral ligament. The $131 million investment is currently hanging in the balance, and the entire organization is holding its collective breath, praying that this is merely a minor setback and not the devastating beginning of the end for one of the most respected competitors in the clubhouse. Let us now pivot to the devastating domino effect this injury has on the active roster and the immediate future of the Toronto Blue Jays. We cannot forget the monumental context of this upcoming season. The Blue Jays are marching into 2026 as the defending, reigning American League champions. They have a massive target on their backs, and every single team in the league is going to bring their absolute best when they play Toronto. The foundation of that championship run, the absolute bedrock of their success, was supposed to be their overpowering, incredibly deep starting rotation. With Kevin Gausman's devastating splitter and the newly acquired Dylan Cease electric high-octane fastball leading the charge, this staff was projected to be an absolute nightmare for opposing hitters. But behind that dynamic two-headed monster, the depth chart is suddenly disintegrating at an alarming, terrifying rate. The rotation is no longer a position of overwhelming strength. It has instantly transformed into a glaring, flashing red siren of vulnerability. Just look at the absolute carnage that has decimated this pitching staff before the regular season has even commenced. Shane Bieber, a former Cy Young winner brought in to solidify the middle of the rotation, is already starting the year on the injured list with a highly concerning forearm issue. Bowden Francis, a crucial depth piece who is expected to eat significant innings, has been completely wiped out for the entire season after undergoing Tommy John surgery. And now, with Berrios heading to Texas, the safety net is completely gone. The front office is now staring down a terrifying reality where they are forced to rely on incredibly risky alternatives. They are going to have to heavily depend on highly touted prospect Trey Yesavage, but the organization has already explicitly stated they are going to strictly manage his workload and limit his appearances early in the season to protect his development. And behind him, they are relying on the legendary, but incredibly fragile 41-year-old right arm of Max Scherzer. You cannot successfully defend an American League pennant when your rotation depth consists of a heavily restricted rookie and a pitcher in his early 40s. The fan base is currently in a state of absolute meltdown on social media, and rightfully so. The margin for error has been completely erased, and the pressure on Gausman and Cease to be absolutely perfect every fifth day is now astronomically high. As we stand at this incredibly tense crossroads, the immediate future of the Toronto Blue Jays hinges entirely on the medical opinion of one man in Texas. Dr. Keith Meister's upcoming evaluation will provide the definitive, unalterable answer that will shape the entire trajectory of the 2026 season. We are looking at two drastically different future scenarios. In the best-case scenario, Dr. Meister examines the elbow, determines the inflammation is manageable, prescribes a brief period of rest and targeted rehabilitation, and clears Berrios to return to mound. If that happens, Berrios faces a frantic high-pressure race against the clock to rebuild his arm's strength and reclaim his physical form before that critical March 27th opening day deadline. But we must also mentally prepare for the nightmare scenario. If Dr. Meister sees structural damage, if he recommends a surgical intervention, whether it's a cleanup procedure or the dreaded Tommy John surgery, the Blue Jays will be thrust into an absolute state of emergency. They will be forced to scour the barren landscape of the remaining free agent market or execute a desperate, overpriced trade just to find a warm body capable of throwing major league innings. This situation is a brutal, unforgiving reminder of the fragile nature of championship windows in modern baseball. You can spend hundreds of millions of dollars, you can assemble the greatest roster on paper, but it can all be completely unraveled by a single microscopic tear in a ligament. The Blue Jays are about to find out exactly what kind of adversity they are truly capable of handling. Now, I need to hear from the most passionate baseball community on the internet. Get down into the comment section right now and tell me exactly how you are feeling about this devastating José Berríos news. Are you hitting the panic button on the 2026 season, or do you believe the Blue Jays have enough offensive firepower to survive a depleted starting rotation? Who needs to step up immediately if Berrios misses significant time? I want to read every single one of your tactical breakdowns and emotional reactions. Make sure you absolutely smash that like button to support the channel, subscribe so you never miss a breaking news update, and ring that notification bell, because the second Dr. Meister releases his medical report, we will be right back here breaking it all down. Stay strong, baseball fans, and let's hope for a miracle in Texas.